Hi guys, welcome to my channel Simply Michelle. And if you're here for the first time, happy to have you. I have been reading the story called The Promise, written by moi, of course. So, in the previous episode, we have Julie and Michael going at it, where they've been having some internal conflict by looking over the fence on their friends, wondering are they ready for parenthood and all of those nice things. Then we have Ben and Nyla, who they were patching things up. So for today, let us see what is happening in Ohio and Chicago and where the story is taking them. So without itching, let's get right into it. Circle of belonging. The Allen household was filled with laughter, rolling from room to room, pouring out through open windows into the delightful evening air. The table was crowded with plates and glasses, scraps of conversation swaying to and fro like a boat on the sea. Julie sat cozy between Ashley and Tessa, her radiant smile easy, her shoulders relaxed in a way they haven't been for a while. She and Michael had settled back into the family circle, no longer with the weight of unspoken fears, but rather with a quiet peace. Meanwhile, Michael leaned against the kitchen counter with his best pals, Ben and Samuel, their voices low but light. Ever so often, Julie caught Michael's laugh. It warmed her heart from the inside, being so genuine and unguarded. It felt good to be home again, to be a part of the family without compromising or the sting of comparison, of distance myself, she thought. Julie found herself listening more, laughing more, and remembering that belonging wasn't about being in the same stage of life as her sister and friend. It was about walking together, however their parts unfold. Later that night, when the food had dingled and the conversations have softened, Julie slipped her hand into Michael's. He glanced down and smiled, and gave it a squeeze. Their togetherness was now enough. With a quick glance, Tessa looked at them with approval and smiled, feeling happy for them both. A few months later, in Seoul, South Korea, the streets of Seoul buzzed with life, neon signs flowing, voices overlapping, the smell of food carts drifting through the cool night air. Brent and Nyla walked side by side, their hands brushing ever few steps while eating corn dogs. They had been in Korea for 3 months now. Both was given the chance to choose out-of-state programs to study abroad. Brent with a semester exchange at an art institute, Nyla a counseling program with a local university. However, at the transition was bad. It have been overwhelming. New language, new food, new culture, but slowly they had found a rhythm. As usual, Brent carried his sketched book tucked under his arm, filled with drawings of temples, bustling marketplaces, and quiet alleyways where he and Nyla often sat to talk. He felt freer here, as if distance from home had sharpened his focus rather than blurred it. I had blasted thrive in the city, in the city's space. Her counseling techniques had improved immensely. She had gotten less judgmental, more patient, positive, hopeful, and impartial, also cultural sensitive like never before. And yet, at night, when the world slowed, she was the happiest, curled next to Brent, whispering dreams about the future. Nevertheless, they still had disagreements, moments of misunderstanding like normal couple do. However, the sharp edges of New York had softened. They had learned to talk, to listen, to forgive more quickly. They were, as Nyla put it one evening, learning how to grow together instead apart. One weekend they called home, joining the family circle. Through the screen, Julie appeared, glowing with newfound ease. Ashley pushed forward, teasing Brent about his growing hair. Ben and Tessa looked on as proud parents. Ayana leaning in the frame, waving at her big brother. Across the oceans and time zones, the family laughter carried. Later that night, Brent shut his laptop, turning to Nyla with a smile. "You know what I realize?" "What?" asked Nyla, resting her head on his shoulder. "Home doesn't mean one place. It's them, it's us. Wherever we are, we carried it with us," expressed Brent. Nyla smiled, pressing a kiss to his cheek. "Then, well, we'll never be lost," she said with a smile, and they both grinned at each other. The missing thread. It was Sunday afternoon, the usual gathering, and the Allens family home was alive with laughter and the usual chorus of voices, children playing in the yard, pots clattering in the kitchen, while conversation echoing from room to room. But beneath the chair, a quiet worry tugged at them all. Julie was the first to say it aloud. Sitting at the table with Tessa and Ashley, she leaned forward, her voice low. "Has anyone heard? Has anyone heard from Greg lately?" The question stilled in the air. Tessa frowned, setting down her cup of tea. "Not for a week. He usually checks in even when he's busy with work or his YouTube channel. But this nothing." Ashley glanced towards the living room, where Ben was helping Sam with a leaky faucet. Didn't he have a conference overseas?" Ashley asked. "He did," said Tessa, worry edging her voice. "But he was supposed to be back by now. He promised he'll stop by, especially since he hasn't seen Ayana in months." The moment of Greg's name seemed to ripple through the house. Ben overheard as he walked in, wiping his hands on a rug. "Greg?" he asked, joining the table, his brow furrowed. "I tried calling him last week. No answer. Left a message too, but nothing," expressed Ben. Mrs. Jones, Ben's mother, bustling in from the kitchen, paused when she caught the somber looks. "Still no word?" she asked. Tessa shook her head. "It's not like him. He's always been close to us. If something was wrong, he'll say," said Tessa, trying to reassure everyone. The room grew heavier. Greg had been more than just Tessa's friend from university. He was a holiday, who dropped by the clinic with supplies, who treated Brent and Ayana as if they were his own niece and nephew. His absence left a hollow space. Michael, who had been quieter until now, spoke carefully. "Sometimes when people go missing, it's not always danger, you know. Sometimes it's them needing space. Maybe he's struggling with something he doesn't want to share yet." Julie reached for his hand under the table, graceful for his steadiness. Still, Tessa's heart twisted. "Maybe, but I can't shake the feeling. Something's off." Ben leaned forward, his doctor's hand already ticking. "I'll reach out to some of his colleagues, see if they heard from him. If he's struggling, he won't go through it alone. Not while we are here." Ashley nodded firmly. "We will keep the circle strong for Greg too." Later that night, after the house had quieted, Tessa stood at the window, staring into the night. The thought of the promises Greg had made, the way he had always shown up for them. Her chest ached with worry, but also with resolve. "Wherever you are, Greg," she whispered, "you are not forgotten. We'll find you. We are family." And in the silence, though no answer came, she felt a certainty in her bones that this story with Greg wasn't over. Searching shadows. The week after Greg's name first came up in the family circle, the worry deepened into something heavier, a quiet thread woven through their days. Ben kept busy at the clinic, but he found his thoughts drifting every time he glanced at the phone on his desk. Between appointments, he sent emails, made calls, even reached out to an old Harvard contact. Each reply was the same: "No one's heard of Greg in weeks." At home, Tessa noticed. She watched the way Ben brofered when another call went unanswered, the way he lingered at the window as if expecting Greg's car to pull into the yard. "You won't rest well until he's safe," she murmured one evening, slipping her hand into his. Ben sighed, leaning into her touch. "He's my friend too, Tess. More like a brother of lately. And I don't like the silence. It feels wrong. You know what I mean?" he expressed. Family's quiet worry. Ashley tried to stay hopeful. She told herself Greg was probably off filming some project for his channel, or caught up in doctor work, the way he sometimes disappeared into his passions. But when Samuel found her staring at her phone late that night, refreshing her messages again and again, she whispered, "What if it's more than that?" Julie took a different approach. With Michael's encouragement, she organized a small prayer group. Family and friends gathered in the living room, lifting Greg's name in the air to the Lord. Julie's voice wavered as she prayed, but she steadied herself. Wherever he is, let him feel he's not alone. Even Ayana noticed. The little girl tugged at Tessa's sleeve one afternoon. "Mommy, why is Uncle Greg not coming? Did I do something wrong?" she asked. Tessa knelt down, brushing her daughter's cheek. No, sweetheart. Uncle Greg loves you very much. He's just away for a while. But we'll see him again soon. Ayana nodded slowly, but her eyes carried the same worry that rippled through the whole family. Brent and Nyla abroad. Even from Korea, Brent felt the weight of it. He and Nyla joined a video call one evening, the screen filled with tired but determined faces. Greg's always been there for us, Brent said, his voice firm. If he's in trouble, he needs to know we'll be there for him, whatever it takes. Nyla squeezed his hand. Her quiet support echoed the same resolve. And Mrs. Jones, Ben's mother, who spoke what everyone was feeling standing in the kitchen as the family gathered. She folded her hands firmly. Not know where Greg is right now, but he's ours. And we don't give up on family, not ever. Her voice settled over them all like a vow. That night, as the house quieted and the children drifted to sleep, the family's concern felt heavier than ever. But beneath it was something else, a shared determination, a promise unspoken yet understood. Whatever shadows Greg had walked into, he would not face them alone. Worry turned to action. Days turned into weeks and still no word from Greg. What began as quiet concern had grown into something sharper, heavier, impossible to ignore. Ben sat at the dining table one morning, phone pressed to his ear as he strolled through contact list. I have checked with his colleagues in Boston, and no one's seen him. The hospital says he took leave, but he didn't tell anyone where he was going. Tessa sat down at a toast, her lips pressed thin. That's not Greg. He always leave a note, a message, or something. He wouldn't just vanish into thin air. Julie, seated nearby with Michael, spoke softly. Maybe it's time we go beyond calls. Maybe someone needs to actually look for him. The urgent family meeting. That evening, the living room filled with voices. Ashley and Samuel with their baby, Julie and Michael, Mrs. Jones and her husband, and even Daniel and Laura. Brent and Nyla joined by video. Calling from Korea, their faces tense. Ashley broke the silence first. It's been too long. We can't just sit and wait. Ben leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I have been thinking the same thing. If Greg didn't tell anyone where he was going, it means either he wanted to disappear or something happened. Either way, he's still ours. We need to find him. Do we even know where to start? Michael asked. Well, young folks, everyone seems to forget that I am an old veteran from the army, said Granddad Flynn. Oh yes, Granddad, said Tessa. I'm on it, my granddaughter, said Granddad Flynn. I know he was supposed to attend a conference in Chicago before he went quiet, said Ben. If we trace his steps from there, maybe we can find a clue. Mrs. Jones' voice was firm once more, though her eyes glistened. Then that's where we start. I raised you to fight for the people you love, and Greg is one of us, she said. Dad Flynn got up immediately and went to make some calls. The family murmured and agreed. the decision made without question. The ripple of concern were filled with movement. Ben reached out to contacts in Chicago. Samuel spoke to a friend in the law enforcement. Julie created a thread of communication so everyone could stay updated. Even Brent, oceans away, searched online for clues. Forums post any hint of Greg's presence. Nyla watched him late one night, his face lit by the laptop glow. You really love him, don't you? Brent nodded without looking away. He believed in me before I believed in myself. Uncle Greg always showed up. Now it's my turn. A heavy night. Despite their efforts, nothing surfaced. Guys, we will take a break here for now. And we have come to the end of another story for today. And as we have heard that Ben newly, found best friend. If you're following the story, you know that he and Greg, they didn't hit it off at first. But, through Tessa being his wife and Greg being Tessa's best male friend, over the years there have been forgiveness and now togetherness, and they're inseparable. They're all a form of community and family. I know that Greg have gone missing, or is it that he needs time for himself? Nobody knows. It have caused an uproar in the family because it have left everyone unsettled on edge, which is understandable because they want to know that he's safe and he's good. But stay tuned to find out what's the outcome. And like I always say, Philippians 4 verse 13, I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. So whatever you find to do today, do it to the best of your ability. Bye-bye.